Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Jumpy and Ghosty and Chip. This is a Christians react to Impaled Nazarene, the lost art of goat sacrificing.
Yeah, this should be very edifying, upbuilding in your Christian faith. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at... Although...
It might be good.
Our Behemoth reviews have given birth to something really, really cool. We've got this thing called Storytime that's coming that is ridiculously amazing.
Yes.
It's, you know who you are if you're involved in this top secret project. We're calling it Storytime, and I don't know if we're going to put this stuff in another channel totally, or Vin and Sori, or what. I don't know. We'll probably release episode 1 on the Vin and Sori channel, and then get everybody's opinion. But it's going to be something I guarantee you have never seen or heard before. And we're really, 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 really excited for it. And we've got some of the... In my opinion, we've got some of the best people from all around the world doing what they're doing. It's like professional grade stuff.
For sure.
For sure. So I am extremely excited about it. It's something that's been in my head for 5 years, and hail Nergal for his writing, which influenced a lot of what's about to occur. So
thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Herr Nergal. Okay. This, however, is Impaled Nazarene, the lost art of goat sacrificing. The name of the record is The Absence of War Does Not Mean Peace.
All right,
jihad,
ready?
Jihad, jihad. Okay.
Go.
No!
for Lo with her baby?
Nope.
Oh, we'll have to do that.
Okay. The irony of this whole thing is that Belial is actually a compound word in Hebrew that basically means worthless.
Oh.
So when you see like,
isn't there Belial Elohim or something?
No.
What am I?
Benai Elohim would be
Benai.
sons of God.
Yeah. Okay.
Belial though is a compound.
It means worthless.
Hebrew word which means worth nothing. So, for example, when somebody was bad in the Old Testament and they said a bunch of worthless men,
yeah,
the Hebrew is Benai Belial, sons of worthlessness.
Oh my God.
Sons of Belial. Sons of Belial. I think the ESV actually just leaves it untranslated. They call them sons of Belial. But a lot of your other translations of just say worthless men.
Oh, okay.
Like, the NIV just says worthless men. Mm-hmm. Like when Ahab wanted the vineyard and the guy wouldn't sell the vineyard because it was in his family for generations. Mm-hmm. And then Jezebel said, "Hey, Ahab, what's wrong?" He was crying on his bed. He wouldn't eat his Cheetos. Mm-hmm. And it was because he said, "Well, this guy over here, he's not selling me his yard." She goes, "Oh, don't worry about it." So then she gets a bunch of, it says, the Hebrew says, Benai Belial, sons of, and it's worthless men. So
that's
literally, the term means worthless.
Is that, remember that the husband that she said he's a worthless man?
Yeah.
Same thing?
Benai Belial, yeah. Worthless. That's what it means.
Not a good look.
And the other irony of the lost art of goat sacrificing is very interesting because you have the scapegoat, mm-hmm. which from a biblical perspective is actually a type of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Because the scapegoat bears the sins of the people and then he goes out into the wilderness, mm-hmm. into the habitations of Azazel or demons, and mm-hmm. then he carries the sins of the people into basically no man's land, which is exactly what Christians say. Mm-hmm. He had the sins of the people on him and he was sacrificed outside of the city and encompassed by demons and bad people. So even the goat imagery, and there's also in Leviticus, the people were sacrificing, literally it says, to goat demons. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of the institutions of the sacrificial priesthood. Prior to that, if you were the man of your house, you were pretty much your own kind of mobile priest. But then what ended up happening was people started sacrificing to goat demons, so then it went away from being democratized to being centralized and localized with one specific clan of individuals, and that was kind of the tipping point.
Yeah.
And then in the New Testament, it branches back out again to not only men are the priests of their house, but all believers are actually priests now, mm-hmm. men and women. So, I think a lot of times, like, this happens on both sides. Like, you immediately hear this stuff, and you hear Belial, you mm-hmm. hear this, you hear that. I mean, literally, he's saying master of worthlessness. Master of worthlessness. Like, that's the opening line. That's the opening line of the song. I just think if that Christians would just calm down, and listen to what people are actually saying, and educate yourself in the Bible and the intertestamental literature, then look, see, it's right there. I wasn't lying. It's used to characterize the wicked or worthless. Mm-hmm. The word is often understood as lacking worth from two common Hebrew words, beli,
which is
without, and ya'al, which is to be of value.
Okay.
So without value, that's what it means. So just relax, Christians. Like, it's not the end of the world. Somebody mentions the devil or whatever like that, people just go crazy.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
Okay, listen to what he's saying. For the life of me, I don't understand really though this concept of like. Well, we watched the show and we were supposed to do a what do you call it?
A reaction on it?
A reaction.
What show?
Remember that special that we watched about the Satanists?
Oh, yeah.
Hail Satan.
Yeah, Hail Satan.
We might have to watch it again and do another reaction when you're not sick. Because
yeah.
I think it was an important.
Yeah, it was very important.
Documentary. Mm-hmm. Because I think there's things about it that surprised me about mm-hmm. their approach and what they were trying to accomplish. But one of the things that was really fascinating to me about the Hail Satan thing, criticism, it's just, to me, running headlong into the fact that we're created beings. So the Satanist priestess, who was down with them from like the beginning, she went overboard.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it because I really think everybody should watch this documentary. It's only like $4.99 on Amazon or something to rent, but.
And again, I'm easily bored by things. This was very interesting.
Right. And so, long story short, they basically ended up with a superstructure very similar to the church. You had a multiplicity of leaders.
They had no choice.
They got together, and then they excommunicated her. Just like what would happen in a Christian. But to me, it's like, unless you're going to go completely all out and literally activate that whole do as thou wilt stuff, then you have to have those things.
Right.
Because, and the irony, of course, was that they saw the irony, she saw the irony, she called it out, and they basically said, yeah, whatever. and so, to me, this is one of the things about, like, this is why, again, it's not a criticism of Satanism, but this is why this stuff never bothers me. Because it's impossible for anybody that has that mentality to have an organizing principle. You cannot organize if you're in complete and total anarchy and anybody can do whatever the hell they want. And most people, in my mind, have enough grace from God to know that everybody has limits. And here's the other thing. Not only does everybody has limits, but there are limits that have to be imposed onto others who are going to represent you.
Yep.
Those are facts. And so that's one of the reasons I'm like, even if there was some strange satanic cult where people were taking 3-year-olds and sacrificing them to Belial or whatever, I would feel about it literally the exact same way I feel about abortion. But I wouldn't get alarmed because those systems are inherently cannibalistic. There's no way it could survive. You know who the first people, like if that actually legitimately happened and it got published and there was an expose on it, the first people that would be speaking against that would not be Christians. It would be Satanists. They would be saying, whoa, we're totally against this. That's not us. And even if that's a satanic coven, that's not our brand of Satanism. They would distance themselves from it by a mile. You wouldn't need the Christians. As a matter of fact, in that situation, I would hope the Christians would just shut the hell up and not say anything because I feel like we would handle that horribly. We would broad brush it. We'd go on a witch hunt and all that.
Yeah.
I would actually want to hear more from the Satanists distancing themselves and then giving it as a teaching moment because a lot of these guys they've got. I mean, we're friends with one who's doing, in our opinion, very good work in the world. And one of the markers is don't harm a child. Yep. But again, if it's completely, I'm going to follow the devil, then especially in the Old Testament, the devil is not a fan of babies, and he is a fan of sacrificing babies. We did this in the Bible Boogie where poor Ian got introduced to Molech.
Oh yeah.
And I explained what Molech was and what they would do, and he was extremely upset by it.
Yeah.
The Molech is when they, he was this, they make an image of him and
he had arms of iron.
Arms of iron, and then they set the baby on. They'd set there's a little wood stuff under the arms, and then you'd put the baby on the arms, and then he would be a sacrifice.
They would beat the drums really loud to cover the screams of the child.
So it was a horrible situation. So these guys don't want that type of energy. Like these are not. And I don't know these guys from Adam, but I'm going to go ahead and wager that these guys are not that. Right. Right? Like, I'm probably the most, and that was one of the things that I'm talking about the documentary here, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, because I want us to watch it again, and I want to give a full review of it. Probably on this channel. They'll screw up the algorithm, but whatever. At least the group that we were watching, they had a very big primer on being active and helping your community. And so I know for a fact that they would not be part of any of the hard, dark, demonic, evil shit that you see as Satanism. So I'm not I'm not particularly sure. I would love to talk to some of these people and be like,
yeah, me too.
when you're talking about hell on earth and destruction and all this, like, what does it really mean? What are you really trying to accomplish? Like, what does it mean to you? Because I think sometimes it's kind of like when you hear Christians, I just saw a meme that basically said, if you're praying ardently for the second coming, you hate your neighbor. Which is a very, very interesting angle.
Yeah, it is.
Depending on your view of what happens at the end of the world. Of course, our view of the end of the world would be that if you're praying for the second coming, that means that the world has been globalized and Christianized and everybody's happy and healthy, and if you die at 100, you're considered accursed, and we've made so much progress in medicine and the arts and things like that the world is a utopia. That's our vision of the future from the Bible.
Right.
But if you've got this vision of the future that everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket, the whole world's going to be on fire, and like 5 people saved, and and the Antichrist, and this and that, and you're praying for that eventuality, then by default,
right?
How is it different from this guy saying, Lord Lucifer, plague this world with fire and bring total destruction?
Right, because that's exactly what you're praying for. That is so weird.
You're saying the same thing as these guys. So, like, my thing is, like, but I know that a Christian doesn't really mean, like, fuck my neighbor, I hope he burns in hell. Like, he doesn't mean that. What he means is, I want to get out of this bad situation. I'm up to my ears in student loan debt, and there's war, and my kids aren't safe at school, and I just want the rapture to happen so I can escape.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're talking about.
Fulfill my desires.
Right, but I don't, like I said, I don't believe that if this dude were to see, like, people just laid out on fire in the street, that he'd be like, yes! So I don't know what he means.
Well, no, I'm saying it's the same thing as the Christian. They're saying it's to fulfill my desires.
Right.
Do they actually mean, I don't know.
Right.
Interesting.
So, and it's like, you can't get mad at these guys for saying that. Like, it's the other guy, I was listening to Yasser Qadi, and he was hanging out with this Jewish guy, and he was talking about, premillennial dispensationalism, which states that 2/3 of the Jews in Israel are going to be wiped out by the Antichrist. And so Yasser Qadi's saying, how could you accept money from these people to transport Jews to Israel when they have a theology that says 2/3 of you are going to be killed?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
He's right. Now, we don't believe that, and the Jewish guy was like, yeah, well, those Christians are crazy. I mean, we'll take their money, but they're dumb as hell. Like, we don't think that that's going to happen, so why do I care what their motivations are? Of course, Yasser Qadi's like, I'm not going to take money from people that believe, and they believe, like, these people believe there's like 18 years left of world history. So, like, they believe that the people that are in Israel right now are probably going to get massacred by the Antichrist. It's like, wouldn't you warn them? Wouldn't you tell them stay away from Israel if that's what you believe is going to happen? So that's my thing. It's like, you can't be mad at these people when they say stuff like this if you're a Christian, when the majority of... Now, again, I don't believe that the Bible says what these people say that it says.
No, but a lot of people in this time in church history believe that.
And so if you believe that the world is going to end in all this destruction and judgment, then how the hell can you be mad at this guy for saying that he wants the world to be destroyed with fire and all the rest
Interesting question.
So he's satanic.
Please plague our comment section with your answer.
Right. This guy's satanic, but you're holy, and you're literally asking for at least with this guy, he's not saying escape from the destruction. I want to escape. He's saying I'm going to be one with Lucifer. Christians are saying we're going to get out of here, and the rest of these people are going to be set on fire, or they're whatever, and that's what they get. Come on, bro. Like, so
that's crazy.
I just think that we have to, we have to really sit down and listen to what people are thinking and ask questions, because I literally do not know what this guy means. When he says he wants...
Well, maybe he'll message us back. Maybe he'll give us an interview.
Yeah, I'd like an interview. Imagine that. We could actually talk to each other instead of, like, dousing each other with holy water or doing one of these things as if that's gonna... I see pictures, like, sometimes we put our stuff in the other world, and I know exactly... I knew it!
Yep.
That guy that used to say everybody was a Jesuit.
Yep.
I love Christian. All right.
It's obvious now.
Yeah, it's been clear. They're Jesuits! Alright, what do you get the song?
Shoot.
This is another song that I thought was going to be a very grungy, grimy, dirt under your fingernails black metal song, and it turned out to... It was almost kind of like thrash to some degree. So I'm kind of... I think I wanted some black metal, some tremolo, dark black metal.
Yeah, you told me, load up the black fire intro.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Klaus mentioned...
I know, this is my fault, because I had the video all cut, and then we did the rockathon, threw everything up.
Let's talk about that later. So there's a competition where you can win a free shirt by the big homie Klaus that we have not...
No, this is for patrons only.
Either way, we haven't done a good job.
Oh, I know, but pull it back up so I can...
we'll
just tell people so that the patrons know.
Yeah, so I think we just need to shoot a separate video in total. So, like, this whole part needs to be cut out. Okay, what do you give the song?
7.3.
I give it a solid 9. I thought the metal was good. The musicianship was good.
When you don't really like something, it still gets a very high score.
Well, it's not that I don't really like it. I like the metal. I like the heaviness of it. I like the instrumentation. And
a 9 though?
And lyrically, it was a 9 in my opinion.
Okay.
So,
7.3.
There you are. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.